Hello, Bizarre Story friends. You tuned into the Bizarre AF, a place where we talk about the strange, the unusual, the unknown, and all things Bizarre AF. I'm Kevin. I'm going to be your host for today's episode. And as always, we ask that you keep an open mind, keep a skeptical ear, but keep listening to the facts as we take you on our newest journey, the greatest cons. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our latest episode, and please welcome my co-hostess with the mostess, Alicia. Hey, girl.
Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey. What's going on?
Hey, I'm doing good today. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm starting to feel better.
Good.
Which is a good thing.
Yep. You still have a cough.
I still have a little bit of a cough.
Been weeks, girl.
I know. I know. What is wrong with me? It means that I have a good immune system. It's going to be really great next year.
Yeah.
This year is my year of shit. You know, you have to have some of those years. But
And you know those what are they called? They're called something pearls. Those things I was telling you about before.
pearls of wisdom.
No. No, the little they look like vitamin E's for your cough. There's like something pearls or pearls.
I don't know what they're called, but I got prescribed that.
Something pearls.
Yeah.
They kicked the living shit out of my cough. They kicked the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And you? Nothing.
Does nothing. You can only take 3 a day.
That's incredible, girl. Like somebody had recommended it to me because they had it and it's cured them in an instant. And then I did it, cured me in an instant.
It didn't do shit for me.
That's nuts.
It's because I don't fucking know. I don't know. I've had so many respiratory issues, which is great when you do a podcast.
Yes, perfect. It's great.
It's great. It really makes you sound wonderful. But yeah, no, it didn't do anything for me.
Well,
Kevin, I came over to Kevin's house and I'm like, yeah, cough, blah blah blah, and he said, "Oh, I have something that will cure your cough." And I was like, "Oh my God, please!"
You're like, please.
Is it like codeine, like cough syrup? Yes, give it to me. And he's like, they look like little vitamin E. I'm like, God damn it, I've already tried it. It doesn't work. But that's okay.
Sad.
There's nowhere else I'd rather be than here.
Thanks. And we love it that you're here too.
Good.
We, the collective, we.
The collective.
Hey, so have you ever heard of a bunko?
A bunko.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that a game? Isn't it?
Plinko? Bunko? It does sound like a game, doesn't it?
I think it's a game, like a card game or something.
Interesting.
From like the 1970s. Don't quote me, but I think so.
Fascinating. Have you ever heard of...
I never answer these the way you want me to. Never.
Have you ever heard of a stratagem? Stratagem.
I swear to God.
Stratagem.
I swear to God, that's a fucking game. I swear to God.
We're going to have to look this up.
Yeah.
We're going to have to look this up.
Stratagem. Isn't that just like a word, like a strategy? But it's like a fancy way of saying strategy.
Also fascinating because... Have you heard of a gaffle? How about a flim-flam?
Yeah, that sounds like some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. How about a bamboozle?
I've been bamboozled.
There you go. A swindle, a hustle, a grift,
Yes.
a con, a ripoff.
So you were just telling me.
These are all synonyms. These are all synonyms for what's called a confidence trick or a con.
A bunko.
A bunko.
Would you be a good bunko artist?
Fuck no. The worst.
Me too. I'd be like, I'm so afraid I'm going to get caught.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so a confidence trick is an attempt to defraud a person or a group of people after gaining their trust. That is what a confidence trick is.
Okay.
Hence the short of the word con.
Oh.
Con artist.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do want to have confidence, but not that much.
Right. So it's fascinating that researchers defined confidence tricks as they call it a distinctive species of fraudulent conduct. And they call it distinctive fraudulent conduct, or its own species of fraudulent conduct, because the exchanges are completely voluntary, but they're not exclusively beneficial because they benefit the con artist or the operator of the con at the expense of their marks, their victims.
Yes.
And so it's almost like what's interesting about it is I'm conning you. We're doing the same thing. You're agreeing to it, but you're not. I'm getting more out of it than you are.
Yeah, I'm not in on the game.
Unbeknownst to you, you're not in on it. Yeah. And that's what they call it. A distinctive species of fraudulent conduct. And so a great example. I don't have to explain what a con is to people, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Do it.
So an example is the 3-card Monty. You know what a 3-card Monty is? Have you ever heard of a 3-card Monty?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, it's very popular in New York streets. And they got the 3 cards,
Yes.
and they go flick, 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 and they're like, pick the queen, and you go there, and they give me $20, and you go bet $20, and they go pick the queen, you go bloop bloop bloop, and you point, and they go, oh, it's the queen, and so then they give you $40, and they're like, you want to try it again? You're like, fuck yeah, and so
you would say fuck yeah?
No, this is what
Okay,
people
sorry,
do.
sorry.
And so then they put 40 down and they go flick, 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 pick the queen. You point and go, oh, you got it again. Here's $80. And you go, you want to play again? You're like, fuck yeah. And
Of course. I'm winning.
so then you give them $80 and they go flick, 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 pick the queen. And they go, wah, wah. Nope, sorry, that was the ace.
Oh.
So that's a con.
I've seen it. I've seen it in like different cities. Yeah. I have seen that. And actually, I have a friend who thought he could. Who was a fucking patsy, like a total Joe or whatever you call him. Like, he's like, no, I know exactly what it is. It was the cup game.
Oh, yeah, same concept.
Same exact thing.
Concept.
And he's like,
yep.
It's this one. Oh, hey, I'm winning. And
Yep.
I'm like, dude,
Yep.
you're going to lose. As soon as they hand me $20 and I didn't hand them any money, I'd be like, peace. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for the drink.
So he would also be known as a sucker,
Sucker.
a mark,
Mark.
a stooge, a mug, a rube, a gull.
What is a patsy? Isn't that someone who's...
A pat?
Isn't that...
No, I think a patsy would be more like... I don't know. That's a good question. We should look it up.
Yeah.
But
Sorry. I'm like, I'm asking a question. I thought that was someone who was like a...
no, you're right. It says
a
patsy,
dummy.
a person who is easily swindled, deceived, coerced, persuaded. A sucker.
A sucker.
Yeah, so that could have been one of my victim definitions, is a patsy.
Yeah,
that was a
okay.
good one. Yeah, so mark patsy, sucker, stooge, mug, rube, or a gull. A gull coming from gullible.
Oh, gullible, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perpetrator being a scammer, confidence man or con man, con artist, grifter, hustler, swindler.
Yeah.
Yeah, different words. God, I was gonna go somewhere with that 3-card Monty thing. Now I can't remember. Oh yeah. So what's happening is they're building confidence, right? It's a whole con game,
Right.
right? And so they call what's the foundation, or there's two. Sorry, let me back up. So there's like so many things I'm not talking about.
Yes.
So those are my dogs. Can you guys hear my dogs?
They're going bonkers.
Jeez Louise.
Of course.
So rude.
They were so quiet earlier.
Okay, so there's 2 primary types of cons.
Okay.
So they have the long con and the short con.
Yes, I've heard of that. That's exactly what I was going to guess. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So a long con unfolds over many days, weeks, months, sometimes years.
That is some real confidence.
That is some dedication,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
Mama wants something real bad if she's going to spend years
Trying to get it.
trying to get it.
Oh my God. I would be like, am I going to be alive? And like, this is too much work.
Or get caught before then. And then the short cons can take just minutes or seconds, like the 3-card Monty. It's like
Right.
boom, 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 bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the foundation or the process of there's a process of a con. You can break it down into pieces. And a guy by the name of Edward Smith, he's this proclaimed con man. And he wrote a book on this topic. There's actually a book about it, right? And it's called The Confessions of a Confidence Man. And he states in this book that there are, it's kind of like this 12-step program, but there's 7 stages if you break it down into a con. And I would imagine that if you're a real good grifter, a real good con man, these probably just come naturally and you don't even really think about it. But I would imagine what I imagine is when you plan it out, like you plan these 7 stages to make it, happen right.
Or especially for a longer con, right?
Right, exactly.
You have to hit those stages. Yeah, if you're only gonna if you're spending 20 seconds, that's not necessarily something you don't care about.
So you have to do these things. Well, you'd have to do those things
super
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll tie this back to the 3-card Monty as an example. So you make these preparations in advance of doing this con, and sometimes it requires hiring assistants.
Okay.
To do your con, maybe to do surveillance, or to do like some. What's the word I'm looking for? Like you have to study
crowd work or something.
Yeah, like study what their behaviors and do all these things so you can prepare for your con. So you can make it better.
Yeah.
Right? So the foundations are this. So there's the approach, and this is where the victim is approached or contacted, and sometimes the victim can be lured to the con.
Right.
And that can either happen through word of mouth, unbeknownst, just by circumstance, or it could be that the conned you in to approaching.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Yep,
it could
totally.
be this whole like con within a con kind of thing. Right? And by the way, let me just throw this out there.
Please.
This topic isn't necessarily bizarre, but in my mind, it's so bizarre. Like I can't comprehend pulling off
something so
these cons. Like it's just not in my brain and my DNA to do that. It's like bizarre.
It's totally weird.
Totally crazy. And
it's so outside of your own nature.
Right. Exactly.
That you're like, I can't even understand why someone would do this.
Totally. And so just for people that go, why is this a bizarre AF topic? That's why. It's because I can't wrap my brain around it.
But I do think it is bizarre. It is bizarre that that there is a way in which to do this. Like this guy has the different steps. But this is like a this has happened throughout history, right?
Oh my God. Yes.
So many con artists.
So many.
And they're fascinating.
It is true. Like the things that they do, how they do them, why they do them, fascinating.
And the lengths that they'll go to pull something off.
True that.
I think that it is bizarre and it's abnormal, right? Like
yeah, that's true.
Human.
It is.
So,
I feel like it is abnormal.
Yeah, it's totally abnormal. And you hear about con artists in everyday life, but
yeah,
I mean, hopefully you're not. Maybe you are one. In that case, hey, subscribe. Give us some.
Okay, so we talked about the approach.
Yes.
Okay, so then there's the thing called a buildup. Now, this is where the victim is given opportunity to profit from participating in some sort of event or scheme.
Ah. Okay.
And so the victim's greed plays into this con.
So they tend to play. They tend to try to play off of greed.
Yes, exactly. And so because their greed kind of overrides the rational judgment. Because greed, you're like, money, 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 money. And then you're like, rationally, if you were kind of outside of this, you'd probably go, okay, this is dumb, crazy. I mean, be rational about it. But they're so good at getting you just to think about your profit or your benefit from this event that you supersede, like
you have blinders on. You can't see anything else. All you're thinking about is like it's like
the end
that
game. Yes.
Yeah, the end game. You're kind of sitting there like it's like that lottery thing, right? Like, what are you gonna do with if you won the lottery? And then you're like, all you can think about is like exactly
that.
Yeah, you just have blinders on and so singularly focused.
That's right. Yes, exactly. So then the next part is the actual payoff, or what they call the convincer. How that works is the victim gets a small payout as a demonstration of the success of this scheme or event. So it kind of proves to them that this is legitimate. Yeah. I'm actually making some profit off of it.
Yeah. Why would someone just give me money?
Right. I'm going to prove to you that this is real.
Yeah.
See, you just doubled your money.
Yeah.
Now, they also he says it can be a real amount of money, the payoff or the convince, or it can be faked in some way, like maybe fake money or like electronically, like here's a Bitcoin or, something like that. Oh, yeah. Right? Uh-huh. In a gambling con, the victim is also wins like many, many bets. In a stock market con, the victim's given like fake dividends.
Oh, so it's not real.
It doesn't have to be a legitimate real thing. Like many times it is.
Yeah.
Like in some of the examples we're going to talk about today, some of them are real legit, like, and they're big. And so then that just sucks you in even more.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, oh my, look at all this real money in my hands. Like, let's
money
keep going.
For nothing.
Let's
yes.
keep going. Yeah. Okay. The next part is what he called the hurrah. And this is he calls a sudden manufactured crisis or a change of events that forces the victim to act and make a decision quickly.
Okay.
So at this point, this is the point where the con is generally going to either succeed or it's going to fail. Like this is the deciding point. So with a financial scam, the con artist, he might tell the victim, okay, we're gonna do this, but this is the only window of opportunity. Like we have to do it, like within the within the next hour. I'm just making it up. Or you have to do this within the next 72 hours. Get your $1 million out of the bank within the next 72 hours, or we can't, invest in this stock, or whatever.
This is like a great deal, and we have to
Once in a
jump
lifetime.
on it. Yeah.
The next one is called the inn. The inn. It's called the inn. Now the conspirator who is in on the con will assume a role of like a bystander.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But this bystander, like they'll put money into it too. So you're not, I hate to use the word victim, but it's just so we can distinguish between the perpetrator and the victim in my examples, okay? This way, you're not the only victim, right? You've got another person, maybe another two that are doing the exact same thing that you're doing. And then maybe they do it first.
Right. So they're playing off of your emotions. You're like, I don't know if I should do this.
Yeah.
And
he's like, no, it works. Like, let me show you.
Yeah. Or they say, yeah, maybe I don't know if it works either, but like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it because look how much money I've already gotten.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they're building confidence with a bystander, like trying to get them to say, oh, look, this person's going to do it. So you might as well,
Yeah.
you might as well do it. All the cool kids are doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. And yeah, like we said, so it just gives reassurance.
Yeah.
And the last one is called the corroboration. And so some cons require a corroboration step, particularly those involving a fake but reported rare item of great value. And so this usually takes the use of an accomplice who plays the part of an uninvolved, initially skeptical third party who later confirms claims by the grifter. I've got 17 3-carat diamonds. Let's go get them appraised. Or I've got them at a location that's being held by a top diamond beards owner,
Right.
whatever. So let's go get them there. Let's go look at them. So that kind of thing where they're
Yep.
getting that other person to corroborate their story or to validate.
Yes. Yeah, which totally makes sense. It's like an expert,
Yeah.
or like they have like an expert
Yeah.
come in. Yeah.
Yep. When you look at the 3-card Monty, all that stuff is happening. You're getting inviting them. You do the introduction.
Yep.
You do the payout. Like, it's so
Oh, yeah.
easy. You watch people win all kinds of money and walk away who are
Yep.
probably conspirators.
Yes.
Then you try it. You start making money, right? So now you're hooked.
Yeah.
Um.
And then
Yep. So you've got the approach, we've got the build up, you get the payoff or the convincer, the hoorah. Maybe they go, okay, we got to do this fast. We're gonna have to go quick because I'm gonna have to jam or something.
Yes.
So let's do a real quick, like few hands, real fast, right? After you've already started winning money.
right.
Oh, I gotta go. Wait, no, don't go.
Yeah,
Right. That
yeah.
yeah. The conspirators, which we talked about, the corroboration. Yeah, look all the money I won. All of the stuff happens this is in seconds or a minute.
Oh yeah. But the stakes are pretty, well, I don't know.
I guess they could be high or low depending
Yeah.
on how comfortable you are. Like, are you throwing $1,000 down or
Right.
$20?
Right. Like, have you seen these people and like walked away with money before, and then you come back and like you're like, I'm gonna walk away with some more money, and they're like, oh no, you're gonna have to pay more money in order to play this game.
I'm gonna tell you a story that's not necessarily an intentional con, but
Oh,
it
no.
plays by the same rule book.
Okay.
I used to be a casino dealer.
You did?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Layers. You're a freaking an onion, Kevin.
I am an onion. And I loved dealing blackjack. That was my favorite thing. They also had me dealing baccarat, which is actually a complicated game. But once you know how to play and be the dealer on that, it's pretty straightforward. Payouts suck because I'm digressing. Okay, so love playing dealing blackjack.
Yeah.
I was real good at being personable, and so they would put me in the high stakes
Oh yeah.
rooms.
Uh-huh.
And I went in there one time, and sometimes when I'm hot, I was hot. Like, I would just take your money. I was just like sucking it in, right? And then times when I was what they call cool, and people were winning. Well, I was in the high stakes room one time, had nobody at my table. A guy comes up. He has this probably 4 inches stacks of white chips, which were, I think those were $1,000 chips.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so he had a stack of them.
Oh my
And
God.
he comes down and he's moping. He's like, oh, he sits down. And I think the table limit on mine was $1,000. I think you had to bet $1,000.
Oh, that stresses me out,
was
Kevin.
the minimum. And he put $1,000, guys. He goes, God, I hope you can help, because I've lost so much money. So much money. And if you're already holding like $20,000 in your hand and you go, I've lost so much money, you can only imagine
Oh my gosh.
how much money he lost,
Yeah.
right? So we start gambling. Or sorry, he starts gambling. I'm dealing. It's just he and I.
Mm-hmm.
And he's winning and winning and winning and winning and winning and winning, which was kind of unusual for me. Like I was normally like a pretty hot dealer.
What?
And so he kept winning and winning and winning. So he's getting like, and now I'm starting to pay out like the purple chips, which is like 5 and 10, and then black ones are 10,000. Like he's really starting to make money.
Uh-huh.
And I can't remember if he said something or what, but I said it. I got the impression that he was either at or above
Where
he
had
needed to
lost.
be.
Yeah.
And I very quietly suggested that he leave.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you don't want to go.
What is the suggestion if you're a dealer? Like, how do you say that?
Just very quietly, so like the pit boss and stuff don't hear you. I'm like, oh my, you should go.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Kevin, you were like the Robin Hood of casinos.
Because this was rare.
That somebody won so much.
Winning so much money, especially off of me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I would just like, I was hot. Like, I would take your money.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like, yeah, you probably should go. And he goes, you know what? You're right. You're right. I should. And he flips me $1,000. A chip.
What he can give you
Give
$1,000?
a tip. Give you tips.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Gives me
that.
$1,000. Well, I'm not gonna. So my blood starts to boil when I start talking about the tips because I had to share tips, and I had to share tips with
Everyone?
a-holes that would just like deal like grumpy face.
You're like, I'm good at this.
And then I had to share my tips with those bitches that make no money because nobody wants to tip a grumpy face.
Right. I didn't even know that you could tip someone.
Oh yeah, I tip dealers all the time when I'm playing. But anyway, I lost. I had ultimately could have had $1,000 plus all my other tips that night, but I had to. Okay, that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so he leaves.
You sound a little salty.
Yeah, I'm salty about that one, girl. So he leaves.
Uh-huh.
Girl, 15 minutes. He comes back with 3 inches of $1,000 chips.
No.
Yes.
He didn't just leave.
No, he went to another place where he lost all of his money before. And he lost all of that effing money I gave him.
The house always wins, man.
And he comes back and he goes, oh, I didn't leave. And I only got this. He goes, I hope you can do what you did before. And I'm like,
Go away.
I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. And within 2 minutes, I took all of his money.
You did.
Yep.
Well, you know what, though? He was never going to leave.
He wasn't.
He was going to spend all of his money. And so you were the con artist.
So this is what I'm getting at. So he was taunted. I was teasing him. I was showing him all the payout and what he could get and what was in store for him if he just kept going. And he did. So conned him right out of his money.
So how do you feel about that? Because
I can't feel about it. I mean, I can't think about it. Like I was there to do a job.
Yeah.
Did my job. Mm-hmm. I tried to help him when I really even wasn't supposed to do that.
Right.
So I can't feel any certain way about it because if I really started to think, I would be so depressed.
Oh my God. I am not a gambler at all.
Uh-huh.
Anytime I go and gamble, like give me kitty glitter, give me like the nickel slots, Dean Martin or something like that. Yeah. I will happily do that.
Penny.
Yes, penny. Like give me those. Like I will be like with all the old ladies and just doing that because I look and I'm like, I'm not going to get this money back.
Right. That's how you have to look at it.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yes. I never assume I'm going to get money.
No.
That being said, I think I've always broken even.
Yeah. Good.
And I've never lost all my money.
Yeah.
But
to your point, you have to go there prepared. Like I'm
you're
going to
lose
spend $100 and this is for entertainment. So
Yes.
I'm going to leave here with $100 less money.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
because
what you have to.
because when you put like $1 into a vending machine, you
Yeah.
get a soda or a
Yeah.
bag of chips or whatever.
Uh-huh.
You get fucking nothing for this.
Nothing.
Nothing. And I just don't like. I do not understand why people will be like, oh, here's thousands of dollars.
No.
I had some friends, and they both had sons, and they're like, oh, we're gonna have like, you know, a weekend out. Do you and Dave want to go? Dave and I went, and both of them loved gambling. I had no idea how much they loved gambling. Oh my God. They're like, oh, we'll play with like however much money, and they're just dropping dough. And we went into like the higher stakes like area. They're like, oh yeah, when we're down to our last like 1,000, we just put it in this like in a machine. I'm like, that's $1,000.
Yeah.
That is $1,000.
A lot of
dollars.
That is a lot of goddamn money.
That's so much money. Like I kept on thinking, I'm like, you go to Europe with this money.
You could do so much with
Yes.
$1,000.
Like every time he hit this button, it was like $500.
You could feed a homeless shelter.
It makes me sick.
It's
I was
sick.
like, I was sweating. I was like standing behind him, like, and he was like hitting this, and I'm like, oh my God, Dustin, like I could not handle it.
No.
I was sweating. I'm like, I know how much money. I looked. I was like, oh my God, every time he hits it, it's $500. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? We're just in Black Hawk. It was like insane, but they loved it and they're fine with it.
It's about all of these things feed on greed.
It feeds on greed and also like psychological, like it's
yes,
like
some sort of a
fulfillment.
What is that risk reward?
Yes.
That whole reward in your brain.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's why they get gamblers, because that whatever that reward
It's that
center in your
dopamine.
brain. Yes. Like rewards.
It's releasing that chemical that makes you like feel super good.
And those kinds of people will fall into these cons very easily. Can get conned very easily.
Oh my God.
So anyway, so I digress from all of that. I wanted to give you some examples of talk about some con artists, very famous con artists. I could probably talk for another hour and a half on just all of these con artists. I'm gonna try to. I've got so much information on them, but I'm gonna try to highlight them as best I can. So, we're probably gonna do an episode on this person by herself, and give her a lot of labels actually. But con artist is one of them, and her name is Sherry Shriner.
You love Sherry.
Because she is a cray-cray person. And most people would probably call her a cult leader.
Oh, yes.
But she is a con artist. She graduated with a degree in journalism, political science, and criminal justice. Bitch, be smart.
Yeah, she's an intelligent woman.
But she starts to believe in like New World Order and like lizard people and like crazy shit.
Reptilians.
And whether she really believes it or not, this is something that I question.
Sure.
But she was a full-on con artist because she started to sell her wares.
Her wares?
Her wares. What's that? That's just a phrase. You know, I'm selling my wares. I'm going to sell my wares.
Like a product.
A product. Yes.
Yeah.
Selling her stuff.
Not her potty.
So she created a radio talk show, an alien in the news radio.
Oh my
So she
God.
was selling stuff on her radio show, thousands of followers. She would sell something called argonite, which I guess was the only substance in the world that could defeat the clones and the synthetic robots.
Oh my God. And
So
she
she
had
would
it.
sell this stuff. She would make it and sell it. And a slew of other things that I could go into. Like I said, I have pages on this girl. She even convinced people so much to believe in her that it led to murders.
What?
Murders. Full-on murders.
So here's the question. Like when someone's like a con artist of this like level,
Uh-huh.
what is it? Like what are they getting off on? Is it just like upping the ante? Is it having control over people?
Well, in her case, it wasn't necessarily financial because we're talking small potatoes compared to some of the other con artists we're going to talk about. So I think in her case, I think it could be.
Yes.
It could be that level of
she's attractive
control. Yeah, she was a pretty lady.
Yeah.
It could be something around that level of control, but she also girl had to make some money.
Yes.
Girl had to make a living.
Yeah.
So she'd con people into shit. And when you look up Argonite, like, oh my God, bitch, it's like metal shavings and fucking.
It's like fool's gold.
It's like metal shavings and what's the stuff you put on tables that's real hard and it gets real thick?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like God damn it, I can't think of it.
Like an epoxy.
Oh, like epoxy. Yeah. Yeah, like metal shavings and epoxy. Like you.
Did she make it?
Yes.
Oh my God. You know what though? I fucking respect the shit out of someone who's like, yeah, so we're gonna sell this like Argonite. Sounds like, extraterrestrial. It's gonna protect people.
Yeah.
Oh, they've never seen it before. So what can we make? Metal shavings. Let's go down and get some free fucking metal shavings and epoxy.
God.
The bitch is doing some fucking like arts and crafts in her basement, and motherfuckers are buying that shit.
I'm gonna tell you something right now.
What?
I could not, in a million years, convince anyone to buy some bullshit like metal shavings.
Yes.
And some like plastic resin. Like I could never do that.
It's like one of those things. Like, do you believe your bullshit?
You gotta have to be confident.
You,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're gonna do a whole, I think, episode on her.
God bless her.
Because I have so much material on her. So much material.
You keep on bringing up Sherry Shriners. You're like, have you heard? I'm like, no, I've not. I don't know who this bitch is. Like just now, like when we were talking about her, I just looked her up. I'm like, yeah, she's an attractive woman.
Yeah.
But like,
girl,
crazy.
Talk rabbit holes. Rabbit
love it.
Girls. Okay, next one. Charles Ponzi.
Oh my God, Ponzi schemes.
Yes.
I've heard of that.
So Charles Ponzi ultimately brought down 5 banks.
Yes.
And hundreds of investors with total losses that would equate to, in today's money, about $300 million.
Oh my gosh.
Ultimately charged with 86 counts of mail fraud.
Mail fraud?
Right, but that's federal.
Yeah,
shit.
that's not stuff you want to fuck with.
If you're going to con, do not do it through the mail.
Yeah.
Do not involve the Postal Service.
Yes. They do not take
Word
kindly.
of warning. Everyone's heard of the Ponzi scheme.
Yes.
This is obviously the man who may not have necessarily invented it, but he was the one that had the first biggest success.
He wasn't
with
just famous.
This type of con.
He was infamous for it.
Bernie Madoff,
God.
he just immortalized the Ponzi scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And Bernie, who we're going to talk about in a second, he takes the cake for
Piece of shit.
For A, POS, and B, quantity.
Oh yeah.
Now Charles Ponzi, as I will talk just a little bit about him because it's kind of interesting. He's an Italian. He was Italian.
Ponzi.
This is a Ponzi scheme, and he operated out of the U.S. and Canada. He had many aliases, apparently.
Of course he would.
So his scheme was that he would promise his clients a 50% profit within 45 days, or 100% profit in whatever he was doing within 90 days. And he was selling what are called postal reply coupons. Now, keep in mind, this was done in the, oh my God, I don't have my date. This was like, I think in like the 40s. Like this was a good old long time ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and these things are called postal reply coupons, and you would do them in other countries and you redeem them at face value in the United States. So, in short, these coupons, they can be exchanged for postage stamps. Is ultimately
Right.
why you use them. And they're used to send mail to other postal stations or places that would accept them. Okay. And at the time, the majority of countries were accepting these and using them. And so what he was doing is he was buying them in one country, selling them way higher in another country.
Making a profit.
Making profit. And then he was telling other people to invest in this. And so then he would take that money, he would get all this money, and he would pay his first investors, he would double their money
Right.
with this other money. So they were like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was showing success. Again, we're talking about all these
The steps.
until he was ultimately caught. He ran the scheme for over a year before it came crashing down. And then it was like $20 million. But that's what equates to like $200 million
Right.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't just like he did everything through the mail. So like,
Well, yeah, he was literally involving the mail.
yeah. Like it was like as much like he was really trying to fuck over. Like,
Yeah, right.
Like the postal service. That's so funny.
Which brings us to Bernie Madoff. He was caught in 2008. He defrauded thousands of investors, billions of dollars. Actual losses to investors is estimated about 18 billion.
Good God.
But the net worth of the potential loss based on fabricated gains, all this stuff, was almost 65 billion.
Oh my God.
About almost $14.5 billion was recovered and returned. I don't know how they recovered it. Still billions of dollars unrecovered.
Yeah.
He was sentenced to 150 years.
Oh my God.
So a little bit about Bernie. He was born in 1938. He goes to Brooklyn Law School. He leaves in 1960. Why does he leave in 1960? He founds this penny stock brokerage. And that a penny stock is where you buy and sell shares for less than $1. That's why they call it penny stock. And eventually grows into this Bernie Madoff investment securities.
Okay.
So now he starts this company with $5,000 that he had earned, and then a loan from his father-in-law of about $50,000. And in 2003, a guy by the name of Eric Swanson, he's the assistant director of the SEC, he's investigating Madoff. Well, he meets Shauna Madoff, who is Bernie Madoff's niece. And during that investigation, he finds nothing of interest. So is reported.
Yeah.
Okay. In 2004, there's this other guy who's a lawyer with the SEC's Office of Compliance. He informs her supervisor branch, his name is Mark Donahue, that her review of Madoff found a lot of inconsistencies. There was something going on, and she recommended, let's start investigating him.
Yeah.
This is in 2004. Mark Donahue's boss was Eric Swanson, the guy that met Bernie Madoff's niece.
Yes.
And says,
Everything's
we
fine.
need to just stop the investigation. You don't need
Smells fishy.
to do that. But nobody really knew that he was meeting Madoff's niece, right? Shitty. And then in 2006, when Swanson left, he became engaged to Madoff. In 2007, the two were married. They say he didn't know anything about it, but yeah, whatever.
Bullshit. Of course he knew.
Yeah. And it was December 10th. This is fascinating. He told his sons his asset management unit of his firm was $1 great big lie. He tells his sons this on December 10th. Why? Don't really know. On December 11th, he's arrested.
Oh, maybe he knew.
Or maybe he just couldn't take it anymore.
Could be. Yeah, because it's like that's a long con.
That's the long con.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a really long one. Like, and to not be honest with anyone about it, it's like that would eat at you.
I think it would eat at you.
Or maybe you're just like your soul's just rotten in general, and so you're just like,
Yeah,
eat up,
right.
baby.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Again, I could go on and on about that one, but he was like faking books as far back as 1970. They can find.
Oh my
Like he was
God.
doing this like his entire life.
And
Some level of con.
and he had been, yeah, like he was wealthy as fuck, and like,
yeah.
and he had like all this money. Definitely had enough time to hide a bunch of it.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So it's like, sure, go ahead, put me in jail.
Did you know the SEC had 6 investigations of him through his tenure, and then they all of them were botched in some form or fashion?
Does not surprise me. We're talking about the government.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Is it surprising that they were inept?
He died in 2021, by the way.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Okay. The next one, who I find very fascinating, and we've all probably heard of, is Elizabeth Holmes.
Hmm. This is a good one. Yeah.
She was such a good con artist, as some of you may or may not know. She got Walgreens to start building shit before they even saw her product.
She's like, do you see this pill? It's going to test your blood and like do all this shit. It's really going to revolutionize everything. Everyone's like, there's no way that this can happen. No, it can. Here's some mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, see, I'll prove it. And then she completely fictionizes proving it. And they're like,
yeah.
Oh my God, we're going to build all these wellness centers and we're going to do your product. And oh my God, yeah.
Insane.
She takes more than $700 million from investors.
And she was like very specific, like the way that she was even a CEO and stuff, like she would intentionally, like her voice, the way that she spoke was like kind of like, I'm not going to say what it sounds like, but like it's like kind of lower voice and dorky sounding. And then she would always make sure that her hair was like messed up, not looking perfect. Yeah. And she'd wear red lipstick and would intentionally like smear it and like make herself look
like a crazy smart person.
Yes, that was all intentional.
Yes.
Because she was going to like these like bro investors and like technology firms, and she was trying to like be more like Steve Jobs or something.
Yes, exactly.
Like insanity.
Complete con artist. God.
From the moment she woke up.
So just a little bit about her background. So born in 1984. She goes to high school, enters in computer programming. She starts her first business by selling C++ compilers to Chinese universities. I mean, this girl was smart.
Yeah.
She starts learning Mandarin. 2002, she attends Stanford, chemical engineering. She works as a student researcher. Freshman year, she starts working in this lab, testing respiratory syndrome through collecting blood samples. And in 2003, she uses, I guess, her fear of needles as motivation for her first patent.
That's right.
And their first patent was this wearable she would deliver drugs through this patch.
Yeah.
That was her little idea. She drops out of Stanford, uses tuition money to seed her technology company called Real Time Cures. 2004, she renames the company to Theranos. Which is, by the way, fun fact, supposed to be a combination of 2 words, therapy and diagnostics.
Oh, I didn't know that.
As you mentioned before, starts realizing her potential for this thing. She wants it so bad. Then she's like, how do I do this? Oh, yeah. Steve Jobs is brilliant. He's smart. Start imitating him.
Yep.
She raises like $6 million in a flash. Pretty soon, she's like raising like 90 million in venture. Gets the U.S. Secretary of State, meets him. That starts this whole chain reaction. Who gets conned? 2013, Walgreens gets on board. They're like, fuck yeah. Like, we've never really seen the real working device, but sure, we're going to build all of these wellness centers and put your device in it.
Money, 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 money.
Bingo. Again, agreed.
Yes.
2014, company valued at $9 billion.
Shows you how much bullshit the valuation process is.
Total bullshit.
Yeah.
Total bullshit. 2015, she establishes agreements with all these hospitals. Same year, Forbes names her the youngest and wealthiest self-made billionaire. Wall Street Journal at this time starts secretly investigating her because some whistleblowers that kind of are like trying to get into her, but they're scared.
Right.
Because it was like a hostile work environment. Yeah. 2018, the SEC charges her and her little con artist buddy, Ramesh.
Mm-hmm. He was like the COO, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. She pays a $500,000 fine. Returns $18 million shares of her company because she got convicted and they told her she couldn't be a CEO of a company anymore for like 10 years or something. And then in 2018, they get indicted on fraud. And in 2022, the case ends and she's convicted of defrauding investors and patents, sentenced to 11.2 years and facing a $452 million fine. Was it worth it?
For her?
Uh-huh.
I think these people get off on like being the man or like being like the hot shit. Like I feel like because she says she didn't do anything wrong. She still will say that.
I feel like she thinks it.
Yes. No. Yeah. She's a fucking sociopath.
Yeah.
Like these people don't have any morals, don't have any scruples. Was it worth it for her to be on the cover of like Time magazine and like?
Yeah.
I think 100% she would say it was worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Asking me? Fuck no. That sounds like an awful lot of work.
So much work. Have you ever heard of Simon Levev?
No.
Have you ever heard of the Tinder swindler?
Okay, I've heard of it, but I have no idea what the heck it is.
So between 2017 and 2019, he conned an estimated $100 million from people in another type of Ponzi scheme. He serves 2 years in a Finland. This is gonna go. Your jaw's gonna drop.
Okay.
He serves 2 years in a Finland prison and serves 15 months in an Israeli prison. Real piece of shit.
Yeah. Was he Finnish or?
He was Israeli.
Oh, he's Israeli. Okay.
Yeah. So he steals this checkbook belonging to this family while he's babysitting their kid, and does the same thing while working as a handyman in their home. Like he's like conning this family, right?
Yeah.
In 2011, he's charged in Israel with theft, forgery, and fraud. He never shows up in court. He escapes the country and goes to Jordan with a fake passport, by the way, under this other name.
Yeah.
So in 2012, he's indicted by the Israeli court and again charged again with theft, forgery, and checks, as well as leaving that 5-year-old baby unattended because once he stole their checkbooks, he was out of there.
He's gone,
He was
yeah.
gone.
Oh, my God.
In 2015, he's arrested in Finland and sentenced to 3 years in prison. And when he's arrested in Finland, he claims he was Israeli born in 1978. He was actually born in 1990.
Oh, what the fuck?
He was found with 2 forged Israeli passports, 3 forged Israeli driver's license, 2 forged Israeli flight permits, and 5 American Express credit cards.
He had flight permits too.
He finishes his sentence early. He returns to Israel, only to be recharged in those crimes in 2017 in 2017 for the crap that he did in 2001. But he manages to change his identity during this whole little time again
Of course.
to the Simon Levev and is able to flee the country.
Oh my
So now he travels around Europe pretending to be all these different people.
They just need to put a fucking tracker on this man.
Dude. He presents himself as the son of a Russian-Israeli diamond mogul who is a real person, Lev Lviv.
Uh-huh.
And he's using the dating app Tinder to contact women as this son of the Russian-Israeli diamond mogul, and he tricks them to giving him money. Loaning him money.
Oh my God, that's so fucked up.
And he would do the same thing. He would be getting all this money, so then he's giving them gifts and taking
Of
them on
course.
trips and taking them on private jets and giving them all this luxury,
Uh-huh.
all the while conning them.
Mhm.
Like another Ponzi scheme kind of thing.
Using their money to con them.
That whole payoff conceiver thing.
Yes.
Then he would pretend to be targeted by his enemies, and he would show them pictures of his bodyguard being totally attacked by his enemies because his dad is like this Russian
yeah, that's right.
diamond mogul.
Yeah.
And so now he's being attacked. And so using it as sympathy for these
Right.
women, right? I'm like, oh, help me save
Help
me.
me. Oh, yeah. I'm so unsafe. I don't know what to
can't-
do.
Yeah, so you have to pay for my hotel at the embassy for
God.
dick. 2019, he's arrested by Interpol in Greece after using another forged passport. Later that year, he's sentenced to 15 months in prison in Israel, but released after only 5 months because of the pandemic.
Oh, of course.
Then he pretends to be a medical worker so he can get the vaccine before
What?
anybody else.
Oh my God. This guy, his like cons no bounds.
No bounds. Then he starts a website so that he can give business advice.
Of course. Why not?
Why not? I know how to do business. God. In February of 22, so just about a year ago, the Lviv family sue him
Yeah.
for using his name, tarnishing his name,
Yeah.
or the real Russian Golagard
yes.
or whatever
Yeah.
his name is. Yeah. In that hearing of the complaint that was postponed after an Israeli prosecutor's office sent a request to postpone the hearing on the grounds that he was actually needs to be prosecuted on all that other shit that he's never been able to be prosecuted with. This dude, like,
You know what it's like? It's like Catch Me If You Can.
yeah.
It's like the modern
That's
day
true.
Catch Me If You Can.
It is.
Dude's using dating apps. He's, getting all of this money. Like, just thinking about how much work it would take to remember all your lies.
That's why I would be so bad.
Yeah, like how does he do it? Does he
How
have
does
like
he
an
do it?
Excel spreadsheet? Like, what is it?
They're so sociopathic that they can do it. I don't know.
They just
I don't
believe
know.
their own bullshit.
I could talk about this next one all day. I'm not going to do it. She's fascinating. And not only because of the complete bamboozle that she was able to do, but it was the amount of money was so minuscule compared to the other ones, yet she was sentenced 5 times longer than any of them. We were talking about Anna Delvey.
I was hoping you were going to talk about her. I kind of think she's great. I think
It's
she's
like the audacity. Like
she
it's
she's insane.
insane.
So she like she's been interviewed since,
Uh-huh.
and the interviewers will say things like, so why did you make people believe that you were like a Russian like royal or whatever oligarch? Yeah. Why'd you do that? She's like, I never said anything like that.
Right.
She's like, I never said anything like that. If they believed that, that's their fault.
Oh my God. That was her response to about everything that she did. Like
Yes.
she would deny it.
Or she called
blame people for believing it.
She was like, they're stupid. What am I supposed to
Exactly.
do? It's like, that is so fucking funny.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So she was born in the Soviet Union in 91. in a middle class neighborhood. In 2007, she migrated from Russia to Germany with her family. In 2011, she left Germany to live in London and Paris. In 2013, moves to New York, where she interned for this French magazine called Purple. She dreams up this space that would be for private members, and it would be like arts.
Yes. It's like a club
exclusive club.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like a social club?
Yeah. Yes. And it would feature like pop-ups and exhibitions and national artists and a hangout for the who's who.
Yes.
You know, the poshity posh. So she creates all these fake documents. You know, she claims to have this trust, and that's how she's getting all of this money.
Right.
And this is what's fucking fascinating. Banks are giving her money. How? I couldn't do that.
I know, like, I know what it took to buy my house.
Right. Or exactly.
Like the amount of hoops you have to jump through.
It was a nightmare.
Do you have this? Do you have this? Give us this document. I'm like,
yes.
Oh my gosh, here you go.
And
here
this
you go.
document better match up to this other document.
Yes. Oh, it doesn't match up perfectly. So can you please send me an additional? It's like, oh my God, it's too much. She just always had answers.
Yes.
That's
it. That's it. She always had and good answers.
Yes. She knew how to manipulate. But like, do we blame her for like manipulating banks? Like, fuck banks.
Yes, I'm sorry. Because who suffers?
Banks.
No.
The banks suffer.
No, because then we bail them out. With whose money do we bail them out?
Well, I mean, that is a problem. I'm not saying, but you know, banks suck.
Well, they're clearly stupid.
They're very stupid.
They're clearly stupid. Yeah, and so she ends up. Why didn't I write this down? I can't remember how much she's convicted of or how much time. But in comparison, it's preposterous. The amount of money that she took was minuscule compared to these other fraudsters. It's preposterous. It was really preposterous.
Looks like she got 4 to 12 years in prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay. So now I'm going to talk quickly about a guy named, and I'm going to run through these last ones pretty quickly. Stephen Robert Commissar. This guy's a true POS, man. He was last released from federal prison in 2018. He was known as selling a solar-powered clothes dryer in national magazines. Have you ever heard of this? This guy? Yeah, there were solar-powered clothes dryers. It was
That's huge.
amazing, huge. And they were only $49.95.
Okay, question mark. I'm sorry, but if it seems too good to be true, I think it is.
It was a span of clothesline. Fucking dick.
You know what, though? That's pretty fucking funny. Good old-fashioned solar-powered clothes dryer. So what, people would just like buy it? Like you can't be upset about it because technically it's straight up correct.
That's what's so shitty about it.
I think
He was full on selling the actual solar powered clothes dryer.
only $49.99. Oh my God.
Yeah, fucked up, dude. And then he's arrested of all kinds of other crimes in 83 and 90, 94, 99. I mean, it's nuts. And then he was arrested for swindling investors in a fake television quiz show involving Joe Namath.
Oh my God.
Sentenced to 33 months in jail for that. In 2002, he gets out. He goes by this different name, says he's retired. Connor, I'm retired. No more conning.
Don't worry about me.
I'm done. Look over there. And he poses as this fraud prevention expert and this consultant. And he's like on Dateline, and he is on The View and Sally and Lisa and all these programs like Reformed Con Man. I'm now an expert in fraud prevention. I'm going to show you how to prevent fraud.
You can buy my book for...
Writes a book. Later that year, he's arrested for conning an 84-year-old man out of $500,000.
Oh, that's fucked up. I was totally on board with this dude with the solar power.
Total you POS.
But you know what? Total POS. Not cool.
David Hampton. This one's interesting. Born in 1964. He actually died in 2003. He became famous in the 80s. He convinced a bunch of wealthy New Yorkers to give him food, money, shelter, all this stuff, because he claimed he was the son of Sidney Poitier.
Oh, yeah.
His real name is David Hampton. His story is what created the movie 6 Degrees of Separation.
Seriously?
Have you seen that movie?
Uh-huh.
That's based on David. That's based on his story. Reed Slatkin. Yeah, he was born in 1949, died in 2015. He was a co-founder of Earthlink. Do you know what Earthlink is?
Oh,
it's an internet company.
Yes.
It still exists to this day.
Yes, yeah.
He was an ordained Scientology minister in 1975. And then around 1984, he changed to become a full-time, from a full-time minister to becoming a self-employed investor.
Sounds like a pretty natural leap.
But who are very prominent Scientologists?
Oh, yeah, like Tom Cruise.
Very rich people.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Perfect client base.
Yeah.
So,
was he still involved in Scientology?
Yeah, he was still Scientologist. He just wasn't a minister.
Yeah.
And so in 1986 to 2001, he gets about $600 million from these investors. For the same thing, a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Investment Ponzi scheme. He ends up pleading guilty to 15 counts of mail fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. In 2003, he was sentenced to 14 years in prison.
Okay, so like, I'm really not trying to like to cover up for, or like sympathize with the con artist, but I'm finding myself being in that corner. Okay, so
is it because of their cleverness, or is it why are you?
I think it's kind of funny, honestly. Honestly, I kind of love the chaos that they create, because you know what? Like, okay, banking systems, like, fuck them. Who cares? Like,
okay,
burn it all down. Okay, it's not doing
down with the man.
Yes, down with the man. But like Scientologists, talk about a gullible batch of folks.
Well, clearly.
L. Ron Hubbard was a fantasy writer who created a religion and was even quoted as saying, like, you want to know how to make money? Create a religion.
Yep.
And he fucking did it.
Yeah, he did it.
He did it after that. But like, these people are paying like $700 for a book that's supposed to like release their thetan. So like, I don't know, maybe they fucking deserve it. I don't actually think they deserve it, but it's like, fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck Scientology.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know. And this, again, total POS. And so I'm not going to go into this last one, but the last one is a con. You ever heard of Enron?
Yes. Yeah.
So they ended up, they did a lot of scheming and conning and conned thousands of people out of their retirement.
Yeah, it's so messed up.
Awful.
It's so messed up.
Awful. And they were shitheads. They knew what they were doing. Even the wife of one of the founders, she got caught selling 500,000 shares of her stock, which was well over $1 million at the time. 30 minutes before they announced the stock, crash or whatever. So she knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Totally knew what was going to happen.
That's like insider trading? Right?
Yeah. Taking all that money from those poor people.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, it's when, especially when you have like the man who was who had like $500,000. He was 84 years old. It's like,
Yes.
he's never going to get that money back,
No,
right? Like,
no.
he's in his twilight years. Like, that's fucked up.
And you hear those cons on all the time about when people are calling on the
Yes.
internet.
Yes.
The emails. The Prince one's stupid, but like,
yeah, the Nigerian prince who just needs help. Yeah.
And poor people fall for it again because they follow those steps, those 7 steps, and people fall for it. It's disgusting.
Well, yeah, and I think that like a great lesson in that is like, if it is quick and easy, it's probably not right. There's probably something wrong.
I can with pretty much certain guarantee tell you it's not worth it.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Don't. No.
Stop.
It's like, you want to know what's worth it is like living a life of like honesty and integrity and like being able to sleep at night.
Right.
Like, these people are so fucked up. Like, it seems like it's an addiction to them because like even the con artists are like, oh, I'm retired. It's like, they can't retire. They don't know how to not screw people over.
Exactly.
You know, it's like that is who they are. So they'll always try to find ways to do it. Like Anna Delevingne. Well, let's see. She's probably gonna be doing something like, yeah. But you know, at the same time, it takes a bit of intelligence for these people to actually pull it off.
That's what these people are smart.
Yeah.
You saw how many people went to college.
Oh yeah.
How many people, and to do something so involved takes a brain.
Yes. Yeah.
A sociopathic brain.
Yeah.
But a brain.
A brain nonetheless.
A brain nonetheless.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like, I feel like I'm really interested in hearing about your girl Sherry Shriner because I don't know much about her. Okay. I've heard of some of these other folks. But it is fascinating and really strange how these folks come out of the woodworks and they all do the same stuff. They all follow the same like rules and guidelines.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It's all boils down to the same stuff too at the end of the day. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
They think that they're probably walking gods, but in reality they're all the same pieces of shit.
Amen. Yeah. Well, good. That's it for my episode. So thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you for that one. It's really interesting.
Yeah, you're welcome. We'll talk in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Okay. See you then.
See ya.
Okay. Bye.